Okay, my friends, here we are again in the hall. You know, there's basically three ways of aiming. One is instinctive, which is what I've been doing lately. Then there's point of aim, where you actually look at the target and you're looking at the target and you put your tip onto it and you're seeing the center of the target in your periphery vision. And the other way is where we actually use a gap and we look at the center of the target and we hold our arrow down when we're close below the target. I think that the gap method is probably the best. Probably the best. I could have done that better. Just hit him at the bottom, but let's just see if we can get a couple shots off here. There, dead center. It's important to look at the center of the target and then lower the arrow until you get to that gap point. So I'm not looking at the point of the arrow, you see. Good. It's easy to say good and hard to do. Now, somebody like Horace Ford, he used point of aim. He looked at the spot and put the tip of his arrow on that spot and kept everything else in his periphery. Howard Hill and Jerry Hill, they say to look at the center of the target. So you're seeing the arrow in the periphery, and you can just tell when it's at the proper line. Okay, so that's how we want to get started. And sort of kind of see if I can show you. Let's see here. So what we're trying to do is have our target, and we're finding a spot where if we are looking at the target, we can see this spot in our periphery, and as the arrow comes down, when it gets down to here, that's when we let go. Now, with Howard Hill, his bow was so powerful that he could never really get the arrow lined up, so he used to have a spot over about here, and he would aim and bring his arrow over and down, and by being, even though it was off center or indirect aiming, he would get that target. Okay, so those are a couple of things that that you can think about. It's all visual. That'll be the first little step tonight, but anyhow, you can see that by looking at the target and looking at it through our periphery vision, that we can get right into the center of that target. And you'll notice also they're at the right height. It's not shooting over the target, but by using this method of gapping, your elevation is really solved. It helps your elevation a lot. Okay? Anyhow, talk to you in a minute. Okay, my friends, let's take a couple of shots again. Gapping is the best way that I have found of aiming. Can't be better than that. Instinctive shooting is kind of for the birds, in that you can never really control your elevation As you look along the arrow, because the arrow is anchored underneath the eye, there's a tendency to aim up. Whereas if you gap, as you bring the arrow down, it comes to the right spot. Horace Ford was a great archer. He liked point of aim. For some reason, he liked to look at the spot, put the tip of his arrow on that spot. Well, it worked. It worked for him. But that's basically what we want to do. We want to be able to look at the center of the target and see the arrow. I can see that arrow. You know, I can tell if it's pointing that way or pointing that way. So I'm looking at the center, and I simply will bring the arrow down until it reaches the right spot. And I'll do it all in my peripheral vision. That's what we do. And again, if you do that, you know, you'll get your hits. It really is a big help on elevation. It really is. Anyhow, back in a minute, boys. Okay, my friends. So all we need now is a candle. We had a tip come off the arrow. So what we're going to do is take a little bit of this, it's brown colored glue, and we're just going to heat it up a little bit. Hot wax, you know. And we just have to spread it on. And of course it's not hot wax, it's hot glue. It works pretty good. We're just going to heat that up a little bit. And then we'll just press it on. And we'll get a good spot and we'll give it a little bit of pressure. And then we just have to wait for this to cool a little bit and peel it off, and we'll be all ready to shoot again. Also, we had a piece come off the knock. So we're going to do the same process. Simply heat up our glue a little bit. Put a little bit on the tip of the arrow. They have different angles, you know. The knock, forget the exact degrees, but it's a sharper angle than the point has. And we'll just get a little bit of heat on there. And press on our arrow. I'm going to line this little bump up with a feather. And we just got to let that cool for a little bit too. Okay guys, back in a minute. And sometimes I show you some paintings that I've done. And this is a painting I did a few years ago of a redhead. And you can see it's sort of abstract, got abstract colors and that. But anyhow, that's one of the paintings. Okay. And here's a painting of, there goes Missy, a painting of the downtown scene. And here we have the junkie. This one's called, as you can see why. And it's done with heavy strokes, you know. Anyhow, that's another picture. Hey, Missy? Okay. Okay, my friends, here's a picture called Christmas. And you can see we're down an alleyway, and there's a wreath on the door, and here we have a character, sort of like an elf. A little bit of magic in the garbage. You can tell that he's an elf because he's got little bells on his little curly shoes, sort of like Santa Claus's elf out in the garbage at Christmas time. Life in the big city. That's it, boys. Okay, my friends, this picture is called the basement room. You can see the window, and of course it's a dark place. And here we are. Got a little hash pipe and a mattress. Have you ever seen a room like this before? You probably have, but yeah, the basement room. Did it a long time ago. Anyhow, so much for now. Talk to you later. Bye now.